Okay, let's see if that worked. Let me see if I get a, a quick text from somebody. I'm going to wait till I hear from Kevin or Jen. They've been texting me. I'm just going to wait to hear from you real quick and we'll wrap this up for today. We will wait and see if we're back here. Still red, Ma? You got to tell me that. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we get a text message here. Chris or Kevin, if you can, give me a quick thumbs up. Let me know we're back, and I'll finish for today. Let's see if we can get... real quick. Hey, are we back? I'm texting you. You're not answering.
I'm trying to text you. I don't text very fast, Cal.
Okay. All right. He's saying I don't have a video. Are you seeing a video, Lisa? Is it red? Let's just wait a second here. Might be a delay between getting to them. Let's just wait and see. See if we get a text. Okay, he said the timer's running. Okay, let's just wait. I speeded up the timer. The timer is running. Huh? Okay, I'm just going to keep waiting till I hear from somebody that the video is back. And we are up and running. Why? Okay, I think we're good now. He says we got about 4 minutes. Jennifer says I'm watching you live on Facebook now. So Jennifer, give me a thumbs up if I can keep going. Or ask Chris. Chris says he's watching me live on Facebook now. We've only got about 10 minutes, but it's pretty important 10 minutes, so I don't want to lose it. Make sure we're okay here first. Kevin says our timer's still running. So we're just going to wait a minute. Okay, Jennifer says, you're back in action. Good. Right on. Thank you, Jennifer. Kevin's telling me the timer is still on the screen in Missouri. You are good on Facebook, nothing on YouTube. There's about 5 minutes on the timer. Okay. She says live timer, not clock. Well, I'm showing that we're live on my end. Are we, am my cameras on me? Okay, let's just wait just a minute. I don't want to go forward until I know we're going good. You know what I can do? Okay. Well, we should be good to go here. I'm just going to wait just another minute. Just make sure. Yeah, we're live on Facebook. Okay. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to end today. Hey, that wasn't the computer. For some reason, the internet stream just shut down. I don't understand that. Maybe the enemy doesn't want me to teach this today. You ever thought of that? I don't know. Okay, let's finish today with this understanding. The Sermon on the Mount is intended to disjoin, and I keep using that word because I just want it to be in your head. And he says the prayer is the way that we bring the kingdom of heaven here. So he says, therefore you are commanded to pray in this manner. Now, directly address, I said the word vocative, which you probably never heard that before, but it's written in a way to say you can direct address. It's the case of direct address the Father, the one in heaven. And then he says, command that the name of him is made holy. And you lose that in an English translation where it says, hallowed be thy name. You miss the force of what Jesus is saying. He's making the verb, or Luke is writing the verb, not Luke, Matthew, in a passive voice. Well, what's passive mean? Active means that you're doing the action. Passive means you're receiving the action. It's a big difference, isn't it? If I hit a baseball, I'm the one doing the action. But if I get hit by the baseball, I'm receiving the action. He's saying you are commanded to directly address the Father in heaven and make his name holy. How do we make his name holy? You pray spiritually. When we're praying spiritually, at that time, we're making his name holy. It's not just automatically occurring because we're bringing our laundry list to the Father. That's not what he's saying. So I put that in its own slide so you can see it. And I'm not going to change the slides. I'm going to read it to you. Then he says this. He says this. The kingdom belonging to you, let it actively come. Listen to how I'm including the nuances in the Greek into the translation. He says, this is how you make his name holy. Praying spiritually is the direct address to the Father, and you're letting the kingdom come by making his name holy. The kingdom belongs to you. Let it actively come. The will belonging to you, let it be made known on earth as it is in heaven. Let it go from there to here. As it is in the heavenly realm, also destine that to be upon the earth. This day, Jesus is saying, you are commanded. He said to pray to give us our sustaining bread to us and send away our debts as also we actively send away our debtors. And you might actively not bring us into temptation, but rather rescue us away from the evil. Now pause, stop, hit the pause button. Let's not lose what he's saying right here. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is what it looks like to be led into temptation. This is what I didn't understand in that conversation with my mentor. I was always saying, how is it, why would Jesus say to the Father, don't lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil? I don't understand that. Well, now I do understand it, because I understand what led up to it. He's saying, in this spiritual union that is meant to separate. I couldn't understand it because I was processing it through the law of Moses. He's saying that when we are praying in that spiritual realm, at that moment, the bread is coming. Our daily bread. What's Jesus doing on that beach? Come eat your daily bread. Come after you've cast the net and the harvest of fish. Now it's your turn. Bring us this daily bread. And this is the difference between Peter and John. Peter is telling these people, let's go fishing. This is what it looks like, church, to be led into temptation. This is what it looks like when you lead someone into temptation. I don't want people to see this, that being led into temptation is meant any other thing than being led back into Moses. If this is what Peter is doing, he's the one leading them into temptation. And Jesus is showing up on the beachhead to deliver them from evil. That's what that means. Don't lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And then he ends up, he says, for if ever you might send away the trespasses associated to those men, your Father will also send away or forgive your trespasses. But if ever you might not actively send away those men, neither will your Father send away the trespasses associated to you. Now, I use send away instead of the word forgive, because I don't want you to see the forgiveness of sin is what he's talking about here. He's not talking about the sins. That's already settled. What he's saying is in this transfer from the Father to us to the world, he's showing us that if we don't choose to enter into the new covenant, you're just like those on the earth there, because you're going to be in that lump. He's saying you can't have your sin debt or your trespasses removed if you don't enter into the spiritual union. That's all he's saying right there. That is so important that we understand that everything in this Sermon on the Mount is intended to separate Moses from the Spirit administration in the new covenant. When you're praying spiritually, look at the 120, you'll see it so clearly. Those people were drawn back to the 120. There's 3,000 people who received the forgiveness of sins. They came back to them and said, now what? What do we do with our faith now that our sin debt's forgiven? Well, I would say, well, don't go fishing at night. That's one thing. Don't be led back into that. Because there's no way that the Father can judge this world without us praying spiritually. He wants us to be active participants. And that's what this whole thing's about. Now, next week, I want to start teaching you how does Jesus use Gehenna, the word that we translate hell. Most people have been taught, look, remember that Matthew or that Hebrews 9, it says, hey, what's appointed unto man wants to die, after that the judgment. Well, now we set that back in the right context. That context doesn't mean that one day this body quits and then my life is judged. What he's saying is that when we die to ourselves, on the backside of that, judgment flows through us in that spiritual union. Well, in a very similar way, the idea of hell has been also improperly used. I mean, Jesus is going to say at one point, he says to the Pharisees, he says, you encircle sea and land to make one proselyte, which is a convert to your religious tradition. He says, and when you convert him, you make him twice the son of hell as yourself. Well, that word hell is the word Gehenna. And we're going to unpack that next week so you understand. I'm trying to get you to see, when you remove all these church traditions and the misappropriation of the language, you start to see that the new covenant takes on a brand new look to you. And we're going to set the word Gehenna back the way it was supposed to be taught, so we understand that trying and the fire that you see in this John 21, it is pointing to something. And we're going to reset the teaching on hell next week. Lord bless you. Thank you for putting up with us here. Hey, we got our computer working, got our mic working, but I couldn't stop the internet flow, and that's what shut us down there for a little bit. But we'll keep plugging along, and next week we'll enter into another teaching. Lord bless you. We'll see you next week.